I like it. I could see my guests in the background bobbing their heads because they're excited because it's Friday, June 17th, 2022. And this is Den Excelsior, the Mostly Marvel podcast. I'm Dennis, and I'll be your host as we review the latest happenings in Marvel, but also across, other superpowered stories in all media that caught our attention. And when I say we, I'm referring to my special pair of, I guess it's a guest and a co-host. I think he's entitled to be called co-host. So we'll get him out first. First up, the legend. I think he's returned his to claim that title from being gone for a week. It's Ricky.
Did I get a promotion to co-host now?
I think you were always co-host, but just for
can I put it on the resume?
Sake, no.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can. It's fine. It's fine. You can. Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you.
We once again, thanks to Frank for kind of filling in for you. Like, I really just doubled up on guests last week so that it didn't feel as lonely.
Yeah, my presence requires 2 extra people, so.
Well, it would just be one person really because I already had a guest. But yeah, well, welcome back. I think you had a fun trip.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a birthday trip?
It was a little birthday trip down to Texas. Good to see friends, good to see family. It's hot as shit down there. Every time I'm down there, I love it. It's always a fun time, but I'm always reminded why I don't live there.
The funniest thing is, even though you were doing all that, you still managed to show up drunk on our show last week too.
Yeah, I had to make the quota, so.
You had to make the quota.
We needed one unruly commenter, and I noticed we weren't getting that, so I had to fill in the slot.
Oh, I see. Well, speaking of unruly commenters, I believe our next guest actually has been on this show. I always say this, but I think it's still true. He's been on the show, I think, more than any other guest that we've had. And it's probably because he's always down to nerd out. It's Clark.
Hello, everybody. And yes, always down and always enjoy my time on the Den Excelsior. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for being here. The other reality of it is just like it's a big ass sometimes that we make you watch a bunch of nerd content right before getting on the show. And I think this next few weeks is kind of a big ask for a lot of our guests, but at least one safe week was, I'm pretty sure that Clark was already going to watch Miss Marvel and The Boys anyways, so it wasn't that hard to get you to do it. But yeah, that's what our show is going to be tonight. We're going to be putting the spotlight on the second episode of Miss Marvel and episode 5 of season 3 of The Boys. We will have some other stuff that we do before we get to that, such as nerd news that Ricky's got prepared for us, a quick round of trivia. I promise quick. It's going to be quick this time. And for those of you joining us live, don't be shy. We'll be checking the comments regularly. And if you can't get enough of us, you should visit patreon.com/GenXmedia, where you'll find a variety of creative offerings, including recent episodes of our live after show, The Soapbox. Patrons get exclusive access to chat with us, but if that's not your thing, don't worry. We'll be releasing it to the public next week. I got all that out of the way. I was trying to go a little fast to get that out of the way. We can talk to Clark again now. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure all that was said so that people can chat away in the comments and say whatever they want. And you can tell us what's been going on with you, Clark, what you've been up to since the last time you've been on the show.
Excellent. Well, like Ricky, I took a road trip and stuff. So that was nice. Went and visited folks last week as well. Drove up through, visit my sister in Vegas, your old stomping grounds, Dennis. Damn. And went up to Utah and visited some friends up there. I went to Evermore, which is their kind of like their year-round fantasy amusement park. And that was a lot of fun.
What's a fantasy amusement park?
It's like
it's not what you
like a Ren Fair that's there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not rides, but I was
just said
very
Ren Fair.
it's a little more, it's a little more LARPing than
Is it
Ren Fair, but
better or worse than episode 2 of Hawkeye?
I think it was better. I was actually very impressed with the acting of all the people, and if you got into it, which I had a lot of fun with, so I joined the Guild of the Emerald Sky. We're the dragon trainers and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. And they have someone who has a really nice Muppet dragon puppet thing that comes out and introduce and talks to people, and you can hold dragon eggs. And
that's a pretty good place to like do it, because like, can't you do like the multiple wife thing in Utah?
No.
Right? No.
Whoa, that went real left field.
Right? Can't you do that there? No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Polygamy is still illegal in all this.
It's not as frowned upon though, I think. But
well, there's the cults in southern Utah that might still be there, but
okay. Ricky.
Yes.
Ricky.
Anyways, yeah. No, that sounds pretty fun though. I haven't been to a Ren Fair in a minute, so I'm dying to go back to one. Every time one comes around, I can never convince other people to go with me. So
yeah, I could see that. I could see you having a hard time convincing a lot of people to go with you.
Yeah, all my wives just don't want to go.
When you just ask things like, "Is it the multiple wives thing okay there?" No. Hard segue time. Should we do the news?
We should. Yeah.
Apologies, Clark. I was just trying to save us from whatever.
No worries.
We'll go to a hard pivot.
But it's just, I'm just sad because I know what's coming up next.
Yeah. Oh. So remembering Tim Sale. It's like the hardest segue we had to do so far.
I mean, I helped her. Yeah. I helped her rip the bandage off.
Comic book artist Tim Sale passed away yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. But well known, I would say probably most well known for his Batman covers.
Batman and Superman for All Seasons. I think Superman for All Seasons is actually the basis that they for Smallville, the TV show. Very loosely based, but that was kind of like the whole start of that show. But yeah, he's done an amazing amount of work. A lot of collaborations with Jeff Loeb, and some of the best stories for each of the characters he did ever. Batman: The Long Halloween's easily my favorite Batman story. Superman for All Seasons is pretty good. Spider-Man Blue is an excellent Spider-Man story. Daredevil Yellow is also really great. But yeah, he's just done a lot of cool stuff throughout the years that it's kind of sad, like that, we're getting older and the people that we grew up, reading comics to or whatever, not to, but, from, they're passing. It's their time now. And so it's really,
I mean, Jack Kirby was already gone when we were, coming up. So Stan Lee, of course, somehow survived forever, which was wonderful and amazing.
But I wasn't reading Stan Lee comics.
That's true.
I mean? Like,
yes.
It's just, it never really was the thing I was doing.
This is from DC. Tim Sale was an incredible artist whose take on iconic characters had a real human depth, and his groundbreaking page design changed the way an entire generation thinks about comic book storytelling. Our condolences go to Tim's family and friends. He will be missed.
Yeah,
it's true. He will be.
Yeah,
he will be.
He's definitely one of the great ones.
Yep. Thanks for including that, Ricky.
Oh, yeah. Always like to shine the spotlight on artists. Shifting over to some MCU news. Remember who's this guy? I think I've seen him before. Tell me who is Wonder Man and why I should care about Wonder Man.
Wonder Man, we were speculating he was going to show up in WandaVision. That's probably why you remember him. Wonder Man's a very complicated character, but at one point he has like what? He's the host for Vision's consciousness, I
Is he
think.
is
Or
he an
something like
android?
that.
Technically,
No, he's a person.
he's a person.
Or is it the other way around? Vision was the host for his consciousness. Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? Like,
Well,
so the Vision in the comics is actually like a hybrid of an Ultron and this guy,
mhm.
if I remember correctly. Um, but Wonder Man is a superhero. It's famous from the West Coast Avengers. He's also an actor. Like he's an actor slash
Mhm.
superhero. So
Action
they,
star.
yeah, he's an action star and stuff like that. And he got like zapped by like some sort of ray beams or something, like accidental experimental rays and stuff, and so he can like ionize and turn all blue and fly around and stuff like that. And yeah,
Well, Shang-Chi director Dustin Daniel Cretton and Andrew Guest are going to be working on a Disney Plus show starring Wonder Man. It was actually, I think it was rumored that he was working on something a while back ago, and people assumed it was the Ten Rings show. So this is all
yeah.
coming from the Hollywood Reporter.
Wonder Man's actually been a character that has been a bunch of near misses.
Yeah.
James Gunn almost used him in, I think, one of the Guardians
The
movies.
Guardians of the Galaxy with Nathan Fillion.
Yeah,
Said
the
good.
plan
That
was
was one of the
supposed to be.
rumors. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, but then they ended up scrapping that.
Mhm.
And then again, Wonder Man, there's like little references to him in the WandaVision, like the first 2 episodes, like the
And the
like
credits.
the weird things like that and stuff. And so yeah, there's a couple times that we just kept thinking we were gonna see him. And so, now that he's been announced, I'm like, cool, yeah, whatever. Like at this point, it's not that I'm like jaded or anything. Like it's that at this point, I don't really doubt that there's any character that will get a treatment eventually. So, it's a machine. They're just churning them out, man. So
Got to make
sure.
that IP.
Sure.
Well, speaking of
IPs,
IPs,
I hope it's better. I'll get the last word on that one. I hope it's better than Shang-Chi.
that would be a great movie. Because Shang-Chi's great. So
I'm choosing not to fight you on that one.
you know what else is a great movie? Into the Spider-Verse.
Agreed.
And some news on Into the Spider-Verse 2.
Mhm.
We got the Spot is gonna be one of the villains in that movie.
Yeah, Sony like just shared this image and that was it. It's just an image from the movie of Miles and Gwen fighting the Spot. And I love this character so much. I've actually been waiting to have him made as a Marvel Legend. It's like a super easy Marvel Legend too. It's just a dude with black spots all over his body. That's it. But I don't know if you know the character, Ricky. Clark, you know the character, right?
Yeah.
He can open portals. Each spot is a
Mhm.
portal to a
Yeah,
different dimension.
he's basically the embodiment of every Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoon. He can do that.
I liked his run in with Daredevil in Mark Waid's run. Starting a movie. It was a fun introduction with the Spot.
Yeah, he's a cool character and he has really cool visuals. And as you can see there, like Miles is kicking his chest, and then out of another portal, like he's accidentally kicking Gwen. Yeah, they're gonna have a lot of fun with that character. But I'm hoping
Especially
he's just
animated.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's one of like 10 villains that'll be in that movie.
Mhm.
Like they have like at least
you can
7
do the
or 8
Spot
everyone.
being a main villain, right? Would you be upset if the Spot's the main villain?
Yeah.
He won't be the main
You're right.
villain. He's not a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's like a C tier Spider-Man villain.
He's a stooge.
Yeah. I would be upset if he was the main villain.
Rounding out the news, a little quickie. It's that time of year again. Downtown San Diego.
Yes.
Those banners are going up.
That's so funny that you got that picture, because I was on Instagram earlier today and I saw a totally different picture of the exact same sign.
I mean, they're everywhere. They all
different.
line
I know,
Avenue.
but I just think it's funny. It's like those different pictures of the same thing are just showing up all over social media right now.
I saw people kind of going crazy about this, saying like, "Oh, I guess this means Marvel's at Comic-Con this year." They have not confirmed either way yet.
Well, Marvel Comics, I'm pretty sure will be there.
Yes.
No,
Sorry.
they've confirmed
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
coming.
Have
Yeah,
they
the
that
studios.
Just
official?
not the MCU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last week we
Yes.
reported that, I think,
Mhm.
Okay.
or maybe the week before.
The
The
MCU
MCU
won't be there.
they will not
No.
have a Hall H panel
No, they're saving that for Disney.
on Saturday. Yeah, but Marvel will always be at
Yeah,
Comic.
they always have that booth there.
Yeah, and they'll probably still have panels. They're just not going to do a giant MCU, bring everybody out, bring out all your ponies and show them off for a giant crowd of 8,000 people or
trying to think
whatever.
what lines up with like. You think they drop like an episode of She-Hulk?
No,
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 No.
no.
they're not going to drop an episode. They don't you don't understand. I'm surprised you don't understand that after the last 2.5 years. They don't need Comic-Con
I know they
anymore.
don't. I know they don't.
They don't need that. And they in fact, moreover, they have bosses that say you save this stuff for D23.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Like, and some of the creators, it is nice that some of the creators still acknowledge how important Comic-Con was to the MCU. But I think Dennis is entirely correct. The bosses now at Disney are like, no, we want to save this for our convention. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
But the reality is like, it's not unique to Marvel. Like the disruption of COVID has caused every company to reevaluate their relationship with things like Comic-Con. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a different experience this year. And I'm kind of excited because I think it's going to be more like the old school conventions where you just go look at Ricky shaking
That's not the Comic-Con I know.
It's true. Because Dennis and I remember the days where you could walk up and buy a ticket.
Yeah.
That was my first year I did that. I was still able to do that. And nope, never again.
No.
All right. Rounding out
before the Twilight days.
You got some toys to talk about?
Yeah, real quick. Just real quick, some toys. This one was a surprise drop 2 days ago, I think on Wednesday. GameStop via GameSpot, they shared a GameStop exclusive Gamerverse 2-pack of Mr. Negative and an Inner Demon. I think you're meant to like do army building because the Inner Demon comes with like 3 different heads and like
I'll take one of the Oliver action
weapons and
figures
stuff like that. But yeah, I bought this thing quick because I love Mr. Negative. There's never been a 6-inch Mr. Negative figure, and he looks exactly like our friend and former guest on the show, Oliver. So yeah, I got an Oliver figure. The body on that, by the way, the body on the Inner Demon, I'm 99% sure that's literally just the Old Man Logan body.
Yeah, I was about to say that looks like Logan.
It's the Old Man Logan. It's Old Man Logan's body from the movie figure that was only ever released as a 2-pack for Comic-Con like 2 years ago. Well, it was supposed to be a Comic-Con figure, but it didn't. So I'm just gonna pop the head off my Logan and just put another Inner Demon head on there, and there you go. I got 2 demons.
Yeah, at least it came with three. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they're all like they actually have different hair and stuff. Do you have another slide? I think I have another slide for it, or one more than that too. Yeah, see, they got like different hair on the back of their head, so I thought that was pretty cool. It's a cool armor building figure set. And then just today, I think, today, Hasbro announced the next animated X-Men figure will be Mystique with a custom head and a custom or a special little, not custom, but a special little baby that she's going to carry around too of Kurt Wagner right there.
The baby Hulk.
Pretty cute.
I like the VHS packaging.
The figure is Baby Hulk from Old Man Logan, yes, but they repainted it blue.
In the blue shotgun. Is that just a blue shotgun or is it a special shotgun?
That's a blue painted gun, dude. Sorry, blue molded. It's molded in the same blue plastic that her body is, clearly, because that's how you do. And then one random other piece of news that's not really superhero related, but it's me related, and so I felt like plugging it here. Denix Media, which is myself really, will be at the Revision Art Market tomorrow in San Diego from 12 to 4. I'm going to be selling prints of various, the toy photography stuff that I've done throughout the last year. And I thought it was cool because I've been seeing a lot of stuff put up on social media, and I was like, hey, look over there in the bottom right corner, that's one of my pictures. The funniest thing about that is that's actually not one of my. That's like I've never published that picture as an official picture. That was literally a behind the scenes shot of something that I scrapped and didn't end up doing. And I thought it was so funny that that's the one picture that they chose to use to market me, was just a bunch of toys standing in front of a white background with no context at all. And so I was like, oh, well, that's what you get. But
Marketing,
yeah,
baby.
but I'm excited to go there. It's a cool, like it's a little revisions, like an art house, I guess,
Nice.
for or a studio for.
Yeah, I wish I could make that.
It's for people of various disabilities or special needs, whatever, and that are all into doing art and stuff. And Sea Cow Soda, which is a longtime fan of the
Just about
show.
to say, notice Sea Cow Soda will be there.
Yeah,
she's
she'll
gotten
be there.
better and better.
She's actually been working with Revision for about a part of I think a year now, and so that's how she got invited. And then they thought it would be a really cool thing to feature my work there too. So we'll be sharing
Go
a
buy
giant
stuff.
double table.
If you want more show, go buy stuff.
Thanks.
Otherwise, we have to cancel the show.
Yeah, and this only really applies to the people that are watching us live today or managed to catch the show before noon tomorrow and live in San Diego. But yeah, check us out. We'll be at Revision.
That's a pretty big Venn diagram, for being honest.
Yeah, it's a big Venn diagram. For sure.
Right on.
Yeah. That's all we got for the news today, I think.
That's it. That's all I got.
I can't remember anything else. So, shall I make you guys play a game?
Let's play a game.
Would
you said keep it
play
moving.
A game? Yeah, that was just my little really outdated reference that I was making. So I was trying to come up with something easy because last week, I don't know if you watched last week's episode, Clark. I screwed up. I generally try to make games that are like a little bit more in favor of the guest. But like I know Frank was a guest too, and I was trying to like cater to Brian, but I screwed up, and I ended up making a game that Brian got 0 questions right on, and Frank got like 5 right. And I made it an extra long game, so there's like 10 questions. And Frank won 5-0, and it was just kind of embarrassing. So this time around, I was like, I got to go simpler. And I was like, Ricky, what game should I do? And he's like, I like that one where you have to decide whether it's a DC or a Marvel comic character. And the reason he likes it is because he's got this weird logic where he doesn't need to know anything about the characters at all. He thinks they each have a different art aesthetic.
I think they do.
And we're going to see if that's true right now. So you guys have to guess, is it a DC or a Marvel? Here you go. Here's the first one.
Are we competing or are we together?
Oh, you're competing. I love it when you compete.
Hold on, let me make my screen bigger.
You can work together if you like. It's fine.
The colors lean more Marvel to me.
I would say,
and so does the art, but the guns and the pose, I would say, goes more DC.
I love his logic. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I'm gonna go DC. I'm say DC. People with cloaks like that are all in DC.
Clark, what say you?
I say DC because it looks more like a, the Question or the Phantom or whatever. So it's like the older stuff that DC would do.
Okay, you guys are both locked in for DC. Okay. And by the way, anybody who's watching is welcome to have their own guesses thrown out there in the comment section. But here we go. It is a Marvel. That is the Phantom Reporter, aka
first one I've gotten wrong.
Dick Jones.
Dick Jones.
I was 5 for 5 last time.
We'll agree to disagree. Anyways, I kind of tried to throw you guys off. Like that character is actually from 1940.
That's pre-Marvel,
and was later pre-DC also, and was later acquired by Marvel. So there you go. He's a
purple Nazi
daring No, I don't think he's a purple Nazi hunter, but it could be right. It could be. Yeah, he is a World War II character, so you're probably right, actually.
Phantom
No,
Reporter.
yeah, you're right. Spent the early years of the war combating Nazi spies at home.
Okay, purple
So
Nazi
yeah,
hunter.
purple Nazi hunter. Yep, there you go. Cool. Let's go on to the next one. Here you go. Is it a DC or a Marvel?
That's Marvel. I think it's all in the colors. Like I don't know how I think it is, but the colors scream Marvel to me more so than DC. And just the way the backgrounds are drawn and the crash in the corner, that to me that reads more Marvel.
I'm saying DC because of the bracelets.
Those are pretty Black Adam bracelets. They do look
Black Adam bracelets.
Black Adam-ish.
I love it. I love it. So you guys are locked in.
We're split.
For Marvel for Ricky and a DC for Clark.
Mhm.
And audience, feel free to chime in. We're gonna give you the answer right now. That's
Bullet
a DC.
Head.
It's Bullet Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is Bullet Man.
Look who's
Also
on.
from
Is that Black Adam or Shazam on there?
It's Shazam. He's actually from his first appearance is predates DC, but it actually was in Nickel Comics 1. This is not the comic that it's his first appearance. This is a DC comic right here. But he was a Fawcett Comics character, which was also where Shazam was from too.
Right.
So
and DC got all the Fawcett library.
Yeah, so they bought them all together. Yep. But yeah, he has been folded into the DC universe, which is why he's here on this cover.
Should have stuck to the bracelets.
Shazam. You should have stuck to the bracelets.
I was on to something there.
Quasar has bracelets like that too.
Not like that though, but like
no,
Black
Quasars
Adam
are they're not ribbed. They're
yeah, they are. I literally
really?
have a toy of him. Yeah, they're ribbed. They're pretty ribbed. All right, we're gonna keep going. Yeah, that was Bullet Man, aka James Barr, Nickel Comics #1, also 1940. See what I'm doing here, guys? I'm throwing you off.
You're going before DC and Marvel existed.
Here we go.
So
here's the next one.
It's more like who would acquire this character?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair though, the pictures that I show you
are from
actually from DC or Marvel comics. Then the older ones may predate that, but yeah. Here you go. Is it a DC or Marvel?
That's Marvel.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's Marvel.
I want to know why though, because like I really like the logic.
I think the soft color palette and then the way the shading and the coloring is done on like the nose and the face, like to give the contour. To me, that screams Marvel. They have this. I feel like DC pictures feel almost flat. Not saying that that's bad, but this has a little bit more depth to it, which I like. It reminds me of like an Eternals.
Looks more Marvel, yeah. Definitely get an Eternal vibe. But
okay. Well, you guys are dumb. There you go. That's DC. That is a Teen Titan. That is Cole Weathers. I just love hearing the logic behind what you guys are
it's the logic that I used last time, and it works.
Don't buy into his logic, Clark. You're better than this.
Oh, that was a pure guess. I mean, there was. How do you tell from that? It was a 50-50, and I'm like, it looks Marvel.
It was Cole. She's a Teen Titan. She's actually from 1985, so I wasn't cheating. If you're curious about that one, yeah, that was actually a more recent one, created by Marv Wolfman and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. There you go. All right, so just to be clear, it's 1-0 right now. All right, here we go. Is it a DC or a Marvel? Be better than Ricky Clark. You can do this. I mean, to be fair, you already are doing better than Ricky.
Yeah.
But don't buy into his logic.
I mean, that one was a 50-50 guess. I had to just.
Do you know who this is, Clark?
Fart Man. I do not know. I've become a social misfit.
He reminds me of Howard the Duck with the eyes. So I'm going to double down again with Marvel. That's my logic. Sometimes it
Because
works.
he has
Sometimes it
eyes.
doesn't.
Because he has eyes like Howard the
Eyes
Duck.
like Howard the Duck. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with DC just because I think DC has more characters with alphabets on their uniforms, like Wonder Dog or Wonder Twins. And
Is Wonder Dog DC? I guess Hanna-Barbera, right?
okay, well, I guess that's not the right answer.
Wonder Twins are DC.
No, Wonder
Wonder
Dog.
Twins are, but yeah, maybe not Wonder Dog.
Oh,
but,
Wonder Dog. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Wonder Dog is not either. Yeah. All right. So Ricky's locked in for Marvel and Clark is locked in for DC.
yeah.
Here we go, guys. Here we go. And that's Forbush, man. Ricky, I was actually giving you one. This character you read he was in Next Wave.
Was he
You
really?
read yeah, he was one of the characters that they
Oh.
fought in Next Wave at the very end in one of the big final fights. He made them all look into themselves and see their worst fear. Like he made them each experience their own reality that was like terrifying to them. You don't remember that? And that's how we got like Elsa Bloodstone's origin and stuff. But yeah, it's like literally this dude who's like a pot on his head. But he was actually created in a magazine called Snafu that predates Marvel, but he was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. I believe it was for Timely Comics. It was just appeared in like one thing. Not Forbush Man, just his alias Irving Forbush first appeared in Snafu Comics, and then in the 60s, in this comic, I think that I have in front of us, this was when they decided to turn him into a superhero for Marvel Comics. So his alias was created in Timely, but then they decided to bring him back for Marvel.
I like this cover.
Yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous cover. All right, you guys are tied up now. I think you got one more to go. Here's the tiebreaker. Is it a DC or a Marvel?
Oh my. Captain Pantaloons.
I love this guy because he's like a shirtless,
He
like
is.
blonde, like Errol Flynn type character with like pantaloon shorts.
He looks like a Batman villain.
He looks
and
like
a blue
a
cape.
Oliver Queen variant.
Right?
I'm gonna say
He does.
DC.
I'm gonna say DC too.
Those thighs scream DC.
Those thighs scream DC.
Okay.
This is why I do this show, because of this. I'll bring this one back all the time because it's too good. But you guys are both wrong. It is Blue Blade, who is another Marvel character who was brought over from Timely. Fun fact, actually, the Blue Blade and the Phantom Reporter, which is the first one that got you guys, they were both featured in a comic called The 12, which came out in like 2008, I think, something like that, written by J. Michael Straczynski. It was a 12-issue story in which he took 12 of the characters that were from World War II era Timely Comics and told a story inside the Marvel Universe with them. So it was kind of like his own little mini Watchmen type story. So the covers that I showed you were actually from the 12, and that's why they look all nice and fancy and stuff like that.
Okay.
I couldn't find an easy old picture of Blue Blade to share with you, so I just have like the two pictures, which is the same one, just one
But
without
why
the
no
text.
shirt?
Dude, I couldn't tell you, man. It's I mean, I probably could, but I don't know that I want to.
Is he
USA
like
Comics.
from a humid state, and so like he just
he grew up on a small farm, and as a youth growing up in the Great Depression, he saw everything drying up and longed to be rich and famous. So he moved to Hollywood to become rich and famous. Yeah, little is known about him before World War II. I don't know, man. This character is weird.
Yeah.
But I have fun finding the weird ones, but I in no way claim to be an expert on them. I just like to listen to Ricky just give.
That was fun, but yeah, I agree.
The thighs look like DC, is what he said. He said the thighs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks for playing, guys. I think you're tied up. I proved both of you that this is a harder game than you think, Ricky.
Well, I think I don't say you cheated a bit, but
I didn't cheat.
definitely pulling from what's Marvel or DC.
They're legit Marvel properties. Marvel owns them. DC owns them.
I'm not gonna argue
Also,
it.
the one that you definitively said, that was a straight up Teen Titan. That was funny. That was funny. You just instantly looked at her and said, "That's a Marvel."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right.
I have that bias, man.
You do. You have a strong bias. It's pretty impressive.
Well, this was very educational.
Yeah, and you can go look up any of these characters on your own and find more about them at your local library. I suppose. I don't know. I was trying to plug something. Anyways, why don't we move on and do our first spotlight?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that was the first one because it's the first one I saw.
I have a question there. Yeah, that was the first one. We were gonna do a spotlight on Miss Marvel, which is what we're doing right now. But did that music sound really fast to you right there?
It did.
It does. I think it's StreamYard that does that sometimes. It plays them at a. I promise you, if you played it again, it wouldn't play at the same speed. But don't do it. You don't have to. But it's so weird. It's like it wants us to keep moving faster. Anyways, yes, we're doing a spotlight on Miss Marvel first because we have two shows we're talking about, and unfortunately the boys came out today. So we understand if you didn't have time to watch the boys. So we save that for the end, so that way you can cut out, at that part of the show. But Miss Marvel came out on Wednesday, and so if you haven't had a chance to see it yet, spoiler warning: we will be talking about pretty much whatever happened in that episode. So if that's something you care about, tune out or turn off here, go watch the show, and come back and watch it later. But yeah, we're going to talk about this one first. I think the episode title was in there. It was Crushed episode 2. And this Disney is really short with the descriptions of the episodes, but basically their description of the episode was Kamala and Bruno explore the source of her newfound powers just in time for a perilous adventure. I'm not even sure that's accurate because I still don't know what the adventure is. But I'm not mad. Because
there was a perilous moment.
Yeah. But if you look at this show in terms of if it is a 3-act structure and it's going to be a 6-episode show, which I think that's correct, right? It's 6 episodes.
6 episodes. Yep.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes are Act 1, and at least by the end of Act 1, you got all the players in place. So I think that's what we got now, right? But I don't think we necessarily know. Do we not? I thought we met everybody that we need to meet.
We've seen everybody. I won't say we met everybody.
Okay, well, Clark, tell us what you thought about this episode, or the first one also.
I really enjoy it. I think it's a good. It kind of reminded me of Saved by the Bell, the Marvel. If Marvel did it,
really, that's interesting.
It has that teen vibe that I'm really enjoying that. And definitely I like the writing on it. I like the characters. I like its depictions. I like Kamala. She's a lot of fun. I like that immediately I'm suspicious of this guy who just comes up and just starts macking at her and oh, yep, I was right. At the end, there's something, to him. But they're showing the new powers well, and they're again doing the mystery on where they come from, and it's a nice build, but it's not as slow as Moon Knight in terms of the build, with that the energy. Because it has that teen energy that just moves, and I love the editing. I love the animation. I absolutely love how they handle the text messages and her imagination.
Yeah, I think Moon Knight had a lot more to do, a lot more work, because we learned Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's like an 8-year-old comic book, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we learned that like a week ago. It's been 8 years, something like that. So less more wiggle room to play around with, for sure. Moon Knight had a burden of covering like 40
Yeah,
years of
exactly.
history. And so I thought it did a good job, but I think that like what you're saying, the teen vibe, I thought it was interesting that you said it's a Saved by the Bell. The biggest vibe I get from Miss Marvel is Spider-Man. I
If
feel
you had to
like this
compare it to the
show
MCU, yeah.
I feel like this show is running the same playbook as the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, and
I
that's
can
not a
see that.
bad thing at all.
No,
Like
not at all.
I think it's literally setting up the characters the same way. It's creating these moments of like, is that a bad guy, or is that a best friend, or is that a bad guy? Like it's a lot of I'm on the edge all the time because of Spider-Man and because of the Vulture and like opening the door. Like I'm wondering like where's the twist? Where's the twist? And so I was really happy that there was a twist in this episode. That was hilarious because like the new boy was a Kamran, the new boy in school. He's like a senior and he's like trying to hit on Kamala, which is a little awkward, but whatever. At one point, she gets intercepted by her brother at a restaurant while she's kind of on a date, I guess, and she creates this ridiculous alibi that he's her cousin.
Their cousin.
Their cousin.
He's their cousin. He's their cousin. That the brother Amir doesn't remember, but after a few minutes of talking, he's like, "Oh yeah, I think I remember you," and then like he's like, "Well, see you later, cousin," and he leaves and. He's like, well, that was exhausting, and the fun twist is at the end of the episode, he is her cousin. He's legit her cousin. And so I'm glad they didn't kiss. Like that's, I'm really glad, but that was a really fun setup to set up all this sexual tension between these two characters through the whole episode where she's completely crushing on him. And then by the end of the episode, when the reveal happens, she is now crushed, which is why the title, Ricky, what do you think of this one?
I mean, just the show in general. I like the show. The powers are a little growing on me still, but I like her. I like Kamala. I think she's. Is it Irma?
What?
What's
Iman?
the actress? Iman
Vellani.
Iman Vellani. I like her take. I like her cadence. I like her spunkiness. Another thing I really dig about this show is just showing Muslim people being Muslim people, just normal, going out there day to day.
Dude,
there's not a lot of media that peeks into that that lifestyle, that part of our of the country, or that part of
our culture. That culture, it's part of our country. It's it's just
there's not, but to deal with that side in the US, there's some other shows that deal with that are more adult in nature that kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
But this one, to bring it more of like in a family show for what it is, I think it's a kind of a cool thing.
I think it's an incredibly cool thing, especially because I think the coolest thing about representation is always that when you see something that you realize you've never seen before in that type of media, and then you ask yourself, why have I never seen that before? And you don't have a good answer. You have answers, which is our media decides not to show that kind of stuff in this kind of light, or writers and directors and TV makers don't get benefits, from making this kind of content historically. But it's really weird disproportionately, how you see these characters just praying in a mosque and you realize, I don't think I've ever seen that outside of a show about terrorism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's awesome to see that in a comedy show, whether or not, it's something that you're into. Like, I'm not saying everybody needs to go to a mosque and pray, like, or anything like that, but you have to acknowledge that, like, there's a reason that Muhammad is the most popular name on this planet, and you know what I mean? Like, it's so weird.
It feels like thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
This, like it's a great thing, and I love the talk that she has with her best friend in the bathroom when she's talking about why she wears the hijab, and she's like, I do it for me. Again, this is representation at its finest, because it is a sharing, and it feels so legit, and then it also though ties so well, but without binding up the story. I mean,
No,
then
yeah,
there's
that's
all
not.
the
Yeah,
story. It's great.
If it were to do
Yeah.
that, it would
Yeah.
be more pandering, but it's
Right.
not. It's very much woven into her story
Mhm.
and the story that they're telling, and they're not like the mosque is just a setting, right? It's not a. It's not the focal point. Like, oh, we got to do this thing at the mosque. Like, it's just part of her day to day, and they don't make it a. It's not made a thing. It's not made. It's not glorified, but it's not underrepresented or understated. Yeah, underrepresented. It's just
Yeah.
there because it's part of her day, and that's cool.
But I had to chuckle when they had to do the dig about how the women have poorer facilities than the men.
But I thought that was really cool too, because
I was.
It's progressive, right?
Yeah.
It's progressive. It's saying this is Muslim culture. Take the good and the bad with it. You know what I mean? And that's cool. And I like that the characters are these strong female characters that want to make change from within their own their own community, and that made them likable characters. That made them both very, like, I'm like, hey, you already, after 2 episodes, you have a cause that I can get behind. All right, I like you guys. I do feel weird about, like, I feel weird in general. Let me just get this one out of the way. As a comic book fan, I feel weird about the fact that this girl just got superpowers and then spends barely any of the episode caring about that, because she wants to support her friend in her running for an office within the mosque, and she wants to go, like, date this other boy and all these things, and, like, she backburners the superpowers. Like, my mind was blown for that, but I'm gonna try and be chill about it and accept that her priorities are not my priorities. You know what I mean? Like,
she's a teenage girl.
I know. I like, ooh, that was hurting me.
But they did have mini training montage.
They did have a training montage, which is obligatory. You have to have it. Selena wrote in, I love that that it shows how she's trying to balance both cultures she identifies with. Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. I don't know. We didn't include this in the news, and obviously we couldn't get it in there on last week's episode. But did you guys hear about the Pakistani activist, Malala?
Yes, that she
wrote a letter to
Yeah,
Marvel, thanking them and being, like, so appreciative of seeing something, that represents her culture and her lifestyle.
You want to know, like, it's something subtle that I think it's very much intentional. But when they're interrogating the girl she saved, right, and they're trying to get out who saved her, they make it a point to say, was she Middle Eastern? And she says no. And then, was she South Asian? And I would argue people don't know that difference.
Yeah, well,
and I liked how they did it, though, to set that difference.
Yeah, I like that they showed the political incorrectness of those agents, or at least the one.
Now, bringing that up, I think it's really interesting, the difference of that they're showing with damage control. And they hinted that at Spider-Man, but I haven't seen No Way Home again for a little bit from the interrogation scenes. But damage control in the comics was literally about just cleaning up. And now they're like a police force.
I still think that's a red herring. I don't think damage control are bad guys.
Yeah,
I think it's being presented that way in
like
right now.
Just the authority.
Because right now we're only seeing things from Kamala's perspective. You know what I mean? because it's a show about Kamala, and I'm fine with that. It's called Miss Marvel, so that's fine. We'll go on her ride, and we'll see what happens there. By the way, C Cow Soda chimed in on what I was saying earlier about her priorities, and she's right. She said they covered it already in episode 1 when she talks about Carol living her life. Values are different, because people wanted to know what happened to Carol Danvers, and she's like, hey, maybe she's just out there doing her thing, and she's like, that doesn't make it bad, and that's what I'm trying to reconcile with. Like, believe me, I just think if I had amazing superpowers, I would just say, goodbye, everybody. I need to go and figure out what these are for the next, I don't know, week or 2 or something like that. I'm dropping out of school. I'm just going to be a superpower person.
Well, that's the last episode when Brie Larson shows up and says, hey, let's go to the Avenger Academy.
I really don't like. I've been talking about that one with Lindsay, and as much as it would be cool, I think this is another one of those situations, like all the ones that Ricky brings up, where he expects a character to show up in the show. I don't think that she needs to be in the show, and I don't think she will be in the show. Just like Blade wasn't in Moon Knight, and Doctor Strange wasn't in WandaVision.
Well, I'll say that Captain Marvel showing up in the Miss Marvel show would make the most sense given that connection. I don't think a Brie Larson will show up in this show, but yeah. I do think that there will be a Captain Marvel presence at some point.
It's in every episode because she's dressing up as Captain Marvel,
like a more direct presence, but
more direct presence.
Watching Captain Marvel flying across the sky.
Sure, yeah, I think something. Yeah,
I think it's a possibility of Brie Larson showing up. I mean, the movie, the next one is called The Marvels.
Well, they just announced that they're both going to be in the stupid cruise ship movie thing. That's
right. Yeah, but the thing I'm saying is like,
but it doesn't have to have. I agree with that. It doesn't have to happen.
No,
I feel like
I'll agree with that.
I feel like the movie is the appropriate time to explain where she's been, because the last time we saw Captain Marvel was in Shang-Chi, but it was as like a hologram or whatever.
But I think they've done a really good job of that when just in Endgame, when they're like, look, the universe is a big place and it doesn't have all of you.
Yeah, she's
done.
Yeah.
I think they have done a great job of explaining that she's out saving so many planets that don't have a whole bunch of heroes, that don't have the Avengers. And so if she shows up, cool. If she doesn't, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see where, really, who's the villain? Who's the main antagonist?
So who do you think it is? We have a few options here.
Yeah.
We have a few options. It could be Kamran, which I believe he may be a character from the comic books. I don't want to spoil entirely. It could be Bruno. I think they've given us a lot of reason to either feel bad for Bruno and or suspect Bruno, right? Because like, here's my thing. This episode was rough if you're a Bruno fan after 2 episodes, because Bruno definitely has a crush on Kamala.
Right.
Oh, they did Bruno dirty.
And now they're going to make him have to choose between California and her. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that they did Bruno dirty, but like Bruno definitely got super jealous of this new guy that just showed up, and the way Kamala was just like, gaga over him. But here's the thing. Can you really feel sympathy for Bruno if after all this time he hasn't shot his shot? Like,
I mean, high school's a weird place.
I know. Like, so I don't know. So I kind of feel like, what if all of these
syndrome?
Yeah, exactly. What if all of these pressures force him to crack? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Or
to put it in a more reasonable context, what if he's the Tinkerer from the Miles Morales video game? You know what I mean? In that kind of respect, where it's the best friend that just kind of ends up going a different path because of their knowledge of technology, and next thing you know,
just like Ned Leeds.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Ned Leeds. Yeah. So I think it wants us to believe it's either the grand aunt or aunt, whatever, or maybe aunt, by proxy also Kamran, or it wants us to believe it's damage control, or
It's her mom.
I think it's the guidance counselor. No,
Do you
that guy's amazing though. Have you ever seen a movie?
It's
I'm
pretty
like,
good.
who is this guy?
I love that guy, man. I also love the halal guy, dude. That guy's great. Every episode, he's just being
Let's
ridiculous.
talk about the power set real quick. Do you guys have any thoughts on where is it unlocking something within her, or is the band powerful inherently?
Well, based on Bruno's awesome technology, he was able to scan her and prove that it is coming
He has
from within
MRI
her.
technology.
I guess Stark Tech just made that very, very readily available. Yeah, no, I don't know what was up with that scene. That was kind of one of the uglier scenes of the show, but I think they're trying to give you the Terrigenesis light story. Like she can be an inhuman type of character without being an inhuman, right? So like because that's the whole point of Inhumans, right? Is a MacGuffin unlock powers for them.
Yeah.
It's like only one step removed from a mutant, which is just you were born with a power, and
which is exactly how she got her powers in the comics.
Yeah,
it has a big Terrigen mist thing that went around the world, and she was one of the new superheroes that came from it.
Yeah, so I think so far they've actually in a funny way, without saying Terrigenesis, they have been pretty faithful. You know, as long as you're willing to concede that the powers look slightly different, but like reality is like everything she's done in the show could have been accomplished with a stretch too. Like,
yeah,
she could have stretched.
No, she's stretch adjacent. I think it's just the visual.
She is stretch adjacent. I do think it's interesting that they chose to finally define hard light in the Marvel universe, and I kind of like the way they did it because there's such an inexplicable quality to her powers or origin of them and everything, that when these two teenagers come up with hard light, you just accept it because
hard light's like a thing in the comics.
Yes, hard light is a thing in the comics, and
right.
Unfortunately in the comics it's usually the product of crazy science, like
who has hard light in the comics?
Didn't Ulysses Claw use hard light too? I can't remember.
Dr. Light?
Dr. Light in DC, he does. But there are various characters that use hard light in both comics.
But it's like it's shown in the series, like it's like a light construction that's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Green Lantern. It's Green Lantern. Without the rain.
His is not hard light. His is willpower manifested as
hard light.
No, it's not.
Well,
sure, whatever. But like there's Flash villains that do it too. I can't remember.
Prism.
What is that?
Mirror Master.
Mirror Master.
Master.
I think does. Yeah.
But I'm fine with this power set because they had had to differentiate from Mr. Fantastic, and
I think the reality is
it's fine.
Yeah, I think the reality is they're still trying to buy time, right, for the special effects to be ready for Mr. Fantastic, because the 1 second that we got of him in Doctor Strange was like embarrassingly simple. Like he just stretched onto the screen, you know, like, and you're like, yeah, you guys aren't ready. And that's why I don't mind that if they need to take liberties with a character, I'd rather it be Miss Marvel than like Mr. Fantastic. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind them being different.
Yeah.
But so far she is like Ricky said, she is stretch adjacent. She learned to adapt her powers to work, just like watching that video game. I thought that was genius. I thought that was really cool. The montage was like one of my favorite parts of the episode, and it just killed me that it was like the only time other than the end. But yeah, I feel like this is modeling Spider-Man so hard that I'm waiting for the with great power comes great responsibility moment.
So either Bruno dies
or was it dropping that kid on the car at the end? Like that was painful looking.
That was
that
and that he hurt. And so, you know, he hurt, but now we can go, oh, they could go that way and sue Flashpoint. I think that's what they're calling her. But
Hard
for
light.
her,
I hope they
Hard-
sue her.
hard light.
That,
you
that's the
saw
show.
it in her face. though.
Nightlight.
You saw it in her face that she realized that this was me, and that she has to do better. And that's why, I mean, this is only episode 2. Where are they going to go? I think I don't know. I don't think it's the full great power, great responsibility moment, but I think it's the beginning of it. I think she's realizing. Yeah.
In Spider-Man, it took 2 or 3 movies for Spider-Man to get that moment, right?
No, I mean, because in Civil War, they kind of had the version of, if you could do what you can do and you don't do it, then when bad things happen, it's your fault. That's
he kind of already got it. Like he understood it, but but it was Aunt May that really sealed the deal.
He needs
for
someone
sure.
to die.
By the way, in the Marvel comics, in the contemporary comics, Falcon's wings are made of hard light.
Okay.
As well. They're
Really?
like
Falcon, or the Green Falcon guy? Well, isn't the Green
Falcon?
Okay. Well, what's his name? Joaquin. Joaquin's the Falcon now, right?
No, I'm talking about Sam Wilson.
Okay.
I'm talking. Sam Wilson has like hard light. I got you. I understand. By the way, I will throw this comment out there. I don't know if you guys will understand it, but C. Calcedo was asking, is new hot guy, aka Kamran, basically Webby's shadow friend from DuckTales? I can't remember her name. I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying there, in that like Webby's friend was actually she was a good person, but she was possessed by an evil like spirit that was forcing her to do all these horrible things to Scrooge and all his family and stuff like that. But eventually she was able to separate from them and just be a good ally to Webby and everybody. Well, so maybe I don't mind that. Maybe Kamran is forced to be bad if he is bad at all, but he'll come out on on their side at the end. Yeah, that could be. It's a way of looking at it. But I do think somebody's going to die.
Well, I can help you segue from going from a show that has almost no villain yet to show that clearly has a bad guy.
I guess Clark is ready. Clark is ready to.
I'm trying to help you, because didn't you say you wanted to use the time you wanted to keep it?
We were going to do it. I was just going to give you guys a chance one last time to let people know what your thoughts are. Like, do you recommend Ms. Marvel, or do you
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm enjoying more of this other show, though.
All right. Well, let's go to this other show then.
It was fast again.
See, we're putting the spotlight here. No, it wasn't fast for me, actually.
For me, it was.
Oh, that's weird. We're putting the spotlight on the boys. I think we're going to table our discussion for Kamala and friends till the spotlight, if we have anything more to discuss. By the way, I do have one last thing before we actually officially do the boys. Guys, we got our first Eternals call out. Our first Eternals, Kamala and Kamran were talking about the Kingo series of movies.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny, because I was like, you guys are dumb and you don't realize that the same guy is all of the Kingos, and that's really funny. Camille Nanjiani reference. It was cool. Anyways, all right, officially we're done talking about Ms. Marvel. Now we're going to be talking about The Boys season 3 episode 5. So for anybody who has not watched that, I totally understand, because it literally just came out today, and you probably had a busy day. You couldn't get around to it. So if that's all you can watch for right now, thank you so much. Come back later after you watch The Boys so you can finish watching our discussion here. We're gonna have fun, but yeah, that's your spoiler warning right there. We're gonna do it.
They did drop it last night though, because I watched it last night.
What time? They did, because last week they did midnight.
Oh no, it was before. I was like, is this really? Oh, yeah, here it is, episode 5. So I watched it at like 9 or 10.
I was playing D&D with you last week, and I kept complaining.
It was so I watched it yesterday. Yeah. Wait, no, we were playing then, but I saw it yesterday.
I'm saying
Yeah.
last week I
Yeah.
played D&D with you, and I
Yeah.
kept checking every half hour, and it wasn't up. But okay, cool. If they're back to 5 o'clock on Thursday, then you know what? Screw you guys. No more spoiler warnings. We're spoiling the crap out of tonight. No, but yeah, here's the episode was titled. What was that title? The last time to look down on the world of lies, right? I think that's what it was. I'm sure Brian could tell us what storyline from the boys that actually was from. Brian enlightened us with a lot of information because he actually reads the boys regularly, and we learned like the title of last week's episode was a title of a storyline from the boys too. That was the glorious 5-year plan. But regardless of whether or not you know what the title is about, I'm going to give you the fun VOT-styled summary of the episode. I love these descriptions that they put on Amazon. They're so good. Here it goes. Did you know that chimpanzees are an endangered species largely because of human activity? But you can help by supporting construction costs for Crimson Countess's Chimp Country. This beautiful refuge for chimpanzees will feature a banana plantation, 4 daily stunt shows, and a petting zoo. And when you donate, you'll be entered to win a private video chat with Crimson Countess. Donate today. Oh, man. That's so funny considering everything that played out in this episode. But before we talk more about that, I do think it's funny that we were just talking about Miss Marvel and how I'm waiting for her and with great power, moment. And yet Billy Butcher delivered the best great power speech I've ever heard, which is, with great power comes the absolute certainty that you'll turn into a right cunt. And that was so epically Billy Butcher. I loved it. Anyways, Clark, we were talking before the show, and you were saying you're not entirely enthused by this season of The Boys, and I'm kind of curious. I want to dig into that for a little bit. So let us know what's going on with you and The Boys this season.
All right. So it's kind of like it is a question of where is it going, and so because Homelander is just taking over, like, again, knocking off the different stuff, the different people, the different any challenges. So I'm like, is this just building to a big Homelander Soldier Boy fight that Homelander is going to win?
I don't think it is.
Yeah,
I think they want it to be. Yeah.
I hope, that it's going to go a little different. I mean, it's like, to me, the most interesting things here are Huey dealing with finally having an option, as he said, to help, because he's been helpless for 2 seasons.
He thinks he has.
He thinks he has. Yes. Yeah. He thinks he has. But if we're gonna he's the Hawkeye of the team. He's the soul. He's the powerless, the one.
No, he's the canary.
He's the canary. Yes. And not anymore, though, because now that he's tasted the power, and he's with Billy, and Mother's Milk is just like the whole point, has been lost because of what you guys are doing.
Well, I think so. I said the exact same thing to Sea Cow Soda earlier today, or yesterday, today. And the funny thing is when I said, well, he's not the canary anymore, and she said, no, he's actually 100% still the canary. That's the point of the canary. The canary, when the canary dies, you've gone too far. Yeah. Yeah. And so, unfortunately, they were 100% accurate when Mother's Milk said last season that he is the canary, because I think he's like, if Butcher is seeing repeatedly that the path they're going down is not good, and he sees it, he's actually, he almost seems like really enthused about it until every time he looks at Huey, right? And he's almost disgusted because he knows that he's responsible for what's happening.
I think that's why him and Maeve had that connection this episode, right? Because they're both on the same path, where it's almost like they want to be the one who kills Homelander. It's not about killing Homelander. It's about their own personal vendettas at this point. And
I
working
think,
at
well, Billy wants to kill every soup,
Yeah.
but yeah, he
Mhm.
definitely wants to kill Homelander for sure. Yeah. What were you saying, Ricky?
no, it's man, the show just gets so all the isms that that occur.
It's dark, man. It's
It
dark, but
goes places that they're just so dark and they're so close to home, and
it,
they
it
It's like, okay, one of the issues that I love musicals,
Mhm.
but that musical number didn't, felt so out of place to me, although I think that was the point. But like every character
I think it
that's in
was.
this show, just things just keep getting worse. Just keeps going downhill.
Yeah.
Just this way, everyone. So having that brief little moment was just so jarring. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
like because I
You don't
knew
want
this, like
happiness in the
this
boys.
this no, because it won't last. Happiness in the boys is
It's like
worthless
it's
because
like a
you know
party
they're
in The
about
Walking Dead.
it's Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football. You know they're
Yeah.
gonna pull the football away, and
Mhm.
which is exactly what they did. So
Yeah.
so as much as I love a good musical number and things, it also depressed me. And so like that is one of the things with the boys. It's so tricky because it's like, okay,
Mhm.
this this show, it has those great discussions about absolute power and showing just how really how much of a maniac Superman could be. And so if he like didn't have the moral tethers, which is kind of the point. But um it doesn't. I know I am not expecting a good feeling payoff at all in this show. I'm not
Yeah.
expecting that.
I feel you. I feel you. I
And
get you. I get what you're
and
saying
and
there.
and that is just something that is it's 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 dealing with. But again, like the dark parts that it goes though, because it's willing to go anywhere. And like I also can call the show the how many different ways can you blow somebody up, literally. That is the show. But it's because it goes to those dark corners, it actually gets to have some of the discussions about the dark aspects of human nature and power that we so rarely have, but we know exists. So I
I
think that's the value of the show.
I find it funny because like I watched this with not this season in particular, but just the boys in general with Selena, and she's not a fan of the gore, which that's kind of one of the pillars of this series. But
Yeah.
for me, like the grossness is all the parody and the real life stuff that they throw in your face because
It's the satire. It's amazing.
satire.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm gonna keep telling you that word every week until you get
The
it
satire of
completely.
it all just goes
Yeah.
because it goes past a joke, I think, in every instance that they bring up.
That's good
Like
satire.
one
It's
step past a
yeah.
joke to where you're uncomfortable in
Yes.
a good
Mhm.
way.
Agreed.
You feel gross.
So I think that the in a good way is subjective, right? I think
Mhm.
Ricky, you and I like feeling uncomfortable, and so it we consider it a good way. That for me, that is like the best entertainment is watching them descend into the madness, And I can see how Clark, you find that depressing, like, and yeah, I get that. I totally get that because maybe that's not what you want out of your superhero content. I will say that, oh my goodness, how blessed are we to have the boys and Miss Marvel every week to balance each other
Mhm.
out, right?
Yeah.
They really, really do balance each other out. Like, it's like that first week where I had to binge 3 episodes of the boys. That was a lot of gross. That was a lot of
Yeah.
gross. And Miss Marvel came the next week and she balanced it out now. And so like every week I get both. And I really appreciate that. But I love the way they find to make me laugh at how I think I laugh to calm myself. You know what I mean? Like because that's my reaction to super awkward.
Mhm.
And oh man, Ashley as a character,
Yeah.
she makes me laugh harder than anybody because She is 100% stuck. She's stuck between the hardest of places.
Ashley has been so good this season. Absolutely.
She is literally
somebody that I thought was a throwaway character.
She's in survival mode.
Yeah.
She's 100% in survival mode. Mm-hmm. She's only doing what she can to survive. And for a moment, she broke for a second when Starlight was trying to plead to her sensibilities and say, "You got to help me with this." And she says, "I don't have powers," and that's her way of saying, he will kill me so fast, so.
And I really liked the line when Homelander said, "I prefer to be loved, but I will be feared." When he was talking with Starlight, and the reason why I like that is because it's what makes Homelander different from the regular psycho villain. I just want to destroy everything. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. Yeah. He just is he's so purely narcissistic.
He wants enough people around to worship him.
Yes.
However that may be.
However that happens. And I think that's one of the little twists that make him, again, more of an interesting villain versus just a pure, I want to destroy everything or control everything, because he doesn't want to control everything. In fact, controlling stuff sucks, which he learns in the first meeting.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to control.
He gets a taste of it when Maeve tells him that she never loved him, and
there's a lot of that in this episode.
It bothered him. It bothered him.
I always hated you.
He couldn't. That's what hurt him. Not like anything physical, but just that this one person didn't love him. That whole part of his life was for nothing. And
do you think she's dead?
I hope not.
I don't think they kill her off. I don't think they kill her off screen.
No.
Supersonic gets done dirty off screen, but I don't think Maeve does either.
No.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I do have a question for you guys though. It's kind of a detour. I know Ricky was going to talk more about Maeve, but A-Train, what do you think about his storyline right now?
that is, that's good. He is a guy who's stuck, and I'm waiting for him to. Is something going to make him use his powers and then sacrifice himself for something? Yes. But is that me wanting to find some of these guys willing to be super, or is that just A-Train? Because he's stuck. He tries to do something, it makes it worse, and just you can't fix racism in an afternoon.
Yeah. I think the obvious thing is what you're saying is that A-Train might do something noble. I think the more realistic thing is he'll try to do something noble, screw up, and die for no good reason at all.
That would be the show.
Yeah. Because that's the point of the show, right? Or of the story is
but you know what?
That everything corrupts you beyond salvation. I think
that's what he did to Huey's girlfriend, who died for no reason at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what A-Train gets. Right? If that's
everything in motion,
if that's his end, that wouldn't surprise me, especially now for this show. But his. Seeing what happened with his friend, having his friend who will no longer walk again.
His brother, right? It's
his brother or his friend? It's his brother.
I think that was his brother. Yeah.
Betraying. He's of course terrified of Homelander, but there's not, and he wants to get in with him, and he's so pissed at the Deep. Again, why is the Deep here? Which we'll get into more. They keep the characters interesting enough. Each one has that little extra twist that keeps them from being the pure stereotype.
What do you think is going to push Mother's Milk over the edge? Because I think he's one of the last holdouts, right? I mean, you could argue, we were talking about this last week, in that when the show started, for sure, Starlight and Huey were meant to be your viewpoints, right? They were meant to be your entry points into the show. You're seeing it through their innocent eyes, and you're watching them as they become corrupted by everything around them. At this point, though, like, it's pretty hard to root for Huey and Starlight. It's their lives are effed. So is Mother's Milk the last holdout? Like, or is he gone already too?
I don't
Just in
think
a different way.
they kill him, or I don't think he has
No, and I hope they don't fridge his daughter.
Yeah, he has his daughter. Like, I don't think they do that to him, but I do think he will have his moment with Soldier
But
Boy.
is Frenchie and Kimiko the last holdout?
I think that's more likely
because they have an actual relationship, and like they're the only and they had a musical, but what's happened to him?
We'll see. So I am curious if you guys like, because last week was really fun because we got a really enlightening take on the whole story of the comics versus the show, because Frank and Brian both were readers of the comics, and the fun thing I learned while researching a lot of it too was the boys actually in the comics are powered. They're powered in the first issue. The first issue is when they meet Huey, they give him the shot and he gets powers, and they go around curb stomping heroes left and right through the whole comic book. That's what they do. That's their job. They do it without the limitations that the show gave them. Now, I think the cool part about the show is that they got Garth Ennis, who created the comic, to be an executive producer on the show, and clearly they decided to go in a different way, which is maybe they are going to get powers eventually, but it's a long road, right? And they want to show that process through the course of multiple seasons, right? It just got greenlit for season 4 last week. Yeah. And so I'm curious, how do you feel knowing that they're powered in the comic that this show is based off of?
I think it made for a better. I think them not being powered is the reason they got to this point. Because it's
also cheaper to film if they're not powered.
It's cheaper, but it just made it more interesting. Like, and all of the arguments that you would have with your friends on, like, how would you kill this superhero? All that is answered in seasons 1, 2, and 3.
And I thought it was interesting, that they had to come up with different ways of defeating the heroes that aren't super powered, like shoving things up your butt and explosive, finding the vulnerable points.
Yeah.
However, at some point, I like this progression, because it's got to come down to a knockdown, because they're just dividing the heroes that actually have real powers and with the nobodies. And so I do like the progression and seeing Huey's character, how that's changing, canary or not. So I like this progression, but you're right, they're effed. And you just feel that, and you feel bad for them, and you're just like, what do you do? And you see why he keeps taking it. And when he says that, and it makes so much sense. And you look at Starlight, and she's so sorry for him, but you totally see why he does it.
Yeah. But you look at Kimiko, and you see how happy she is to have lost her powers.
Yeah. To Dennis's point, though, I'm trying to think. A big player is going to die, whether it's Homelander or one of the boys, but not all of them are, right? Given the season 4 thing,
I think it's going to be Soldier Boy. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna try to use Soldier Boy to team up to take out Homelander. They're gonna realize that he was never somebody that they could trust in the first place. Right. He was basically the model for Homelander, right? Yeah. So
because the similarities are huge.
Yeah,
especially after this episode,
dude. The face acting that guy did walking down the street of New York and reacting to all the people that he saw. Oh man,
that was the real life Captain America coming back That's
Yes.
exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was shocked and appalled by everything he saw out there. Like he saw two men hugging or holding hands. He saw people wearing hijabs. He saw a radio just out and about, just playing Russian music. And he was flabbergasted by all of it. And he just like, oh, you're right. That's 100% what a real Captain America type person. Like, I mean, we're so lucky to have the Steve Rogers we got in the MCU because, ooh, that guy is woke beyond his years for sure. But yeah, this is the if he was real, and it's pretty funny. I was telling the guys last week because I actually ended up reading a few issues of the comic that first introduced Soldier Boy last week, and he's an incredibly different character in the comics. Basically, he's just a joke. He basically talks like Robin from like the old Adam West shows. He's like, golly gee, Homelander, that kind of character where he's just like, he's completely subservient to Homelander in every way and stuff. And so I think they went in a very different direction with Dean, with Dean from Supernatural. He's going.
If you got Dean, that's not the character for him.
Yeah, no, it's not. And I'm really loving this character so far. But you can see that Billy and crew, they don't have this guy under control. And so I think as soon as this guy gets in a room with Homelander, if they're allowed to talk, they're just gonna
the egos are just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, they're gonna either team up and then somebody else is gonna have to kill one of them.
Well, the way I see it going is they're gonna try to keep Soldier Boy tame for the next few episodes, but Soldier Boy's powers, he has the extremis from Iron Man where he can just combust. So the way I see it going is
he also seems to remove people's powers.
But as they try to keep him in check, he will just keep combusting, creating collateral damage to the point where they do finally get that Homelander confrontation. But at what cost? If you killed 100 civilians along the way, like, was that worth it to kill Homelander?
No, that's all how they spin it at Vought, for sure. Yeah.
But that's why they had that whole scene with Homelander being Homelander to kind of say, to appeal to that side, but also to show that there are people that want him to be I'm a super white guy and proud of it, and
like what Mother's Milk.
I'm gonna cut that and just put that out as a single clip of just Clark saying that.
Thank you. That is so contextual.
That's our TikTok right there.
Exactly.
We'll probably get a lot of views from both parties. So.
From the Storm Chasers. The Storm Chasers are going to be big fans of that one. What was I going to say? No, I think. I think the thing is, and I don't want to be. I don't know that I want to be wrong about this, but I don't think Homelander's dying for multiple seasons. No, I think he's too good of a villain, and I think the show has a really good cadence of build, and then pull back at the very end. They for some reason they find a new reason for Homelander to just chill out and wait for a while
and that's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because we're gonna get President
they've
Homelander.
Pulled.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. I mean, he literally was running the playbook. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's out of the realm of believability that he would become president in that universe. So I think this character, I'm afraid for the show without Homelander in it, because the boys need Homelander. They need him to exist. Like, because nobody else is in any way the threat that Homelander is. And at this point, I don't think anybody else could ever be as, I don't think the word is charming, but I'm using the word charming to describe Homelander.
Persuasive?
No. I mean, as far as like entertainment value goes for for mustache twirling. You know what I mean? Like you need, like, he's become such an important part of your viewing experience of that show that, like, I don't like, the story is the trope is always the hero is only as good as his villain, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I like watching The Boys, because
Man, he's so good.
he's so good, right? And like,
Right.
even
I
the
lost
people
it at
he
the-
thought were,
But you're-
the people he thought he was his allies, nobody likes him. Nobody likes that guy.
But you're exactly right. They have to have something to keep him in check, because it used to be the video, or it used to be VOD, and those are now all both gone. So they have to have something.
I mean, you
to
get a
keep
situation
him
where they strip him of his powers.
Yeah,
but he's
they
president.
won't.
No.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I don't think that guy loses his powers. The second that guy loses his powers, he's dead. He's dead. He's dead. Somebody
There's
kills
too
him.
many enemies.
President.
Oh,
So-
they
so-
can kill it. You don't think they can kill a president in this universe? Heck
Yeah. Like,
I think presidents
superpowered.
are just puppets.
Are you forgetting Victoria Newman? She killed a bunch of people
The
at
senators
at a congressional hearing. By the way, I rewatched that scene last week, and the coolest thing ever, rewatching it knowing that it's her. She literally looks at every single person right before their head pops, but she does it in a scared, like she fakes scared every time she looks at them, and it's a really well shot scene to like, so that you can connect the dot later and go back and watch it and like, wow, that's so cool that it was her fault every time. But yeah, I don't think they can afford to have Homelander lose his powers, because it just wouldn't work. But in fairness, though, like, I'm pretty sure that character is still alive in the comics too. Like, he is not.
Yeah.
He's as important in that, as
the comics is still going.
Yes. Yep. And he's still in the comics. Yeah. He's still in the comics, dude. He ain't going away. He's too important to the comic. So, anyways, was there anybody else that we wanted to talk about? Little Nina, I still don't know what's going on with that character. Sometimes I feel like they bring a character into the season just to occupy space and time. I feel like that's what she is, but I'd like her to be more than that. Like, because I don't know how far down the rabbit hole she's going to make Frenchie go, or if Kimiko's going to follow. But the jury's still out for me on Little Nina, which is kind of a bummer, because we just finished episode 5, and I still just don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this character. What about you guys? Any other characters that you want to talk about before we go?
I'm me having the one little hope of optimism is I'm hoping for Frenchie and Kimiko. I know, but they're gonna.
I wonder what the Newman thread leads to, of her giving her daughter V. She kind of made that deal with Homelander, but I don't think we're done with her. She has a pretty strong power set, and he even said,
we're
like,
not done with Victoria.
Yeah, but he challenged her, like, you should do it. I want to see what happens.
Yeah,
and she didn't. But I don't think that doesn't mean that she can't.
Because she's not dumb. She's not dumb.
She's not going to
murder. You know what? How do you explain that crime scene to the cops? That Homelander's dead in your bathroom? No, right? I'm saying in your bathroom floor, like with his head exploded. Like, you don't explain that. So yeah, she's not dumb. If she's ever gonna try it, it's gonna be somewhere, where she can't be blamed for it at all by anybody who doesn't know. She's in, it's not in the know.
We should have a bingo card about how else can they blow up a body.
Oh man, I don't think you can fit all the ways just in a bingo card.
We got the butt. We got the pee hole. What other holes? Ear,
nipples, ears,
yeah,
nose,
okay,
mouth,
okay,
pores.
We got the
you know,
mouse, kind of, right?
yeah, I thought it was interesting, by the way, kind of related that, like they seem to be prepared to knock out Soldier Boy because they saw in the video that he can be knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't that mean
with the gas?
Yeah, wouldn't that mean there's a way to kill him through his respiratory system? I feel like that.
Yeah.
Like,
if the gas affects him, why wouldn't poison? If it can knock him out, why not kill him? But shooting the AK-47 down his throat was pretty darn brutal.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty rough.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved watching that. Yeah.
It was good because he still had the pain. That's what he's not Superman.
And that guy tried to stab him in the freaking eyeball. Like, that was so yeah, for anybody who hasn't watched The Boys, you should really check it out because it's the most violent.
And then watch Miss Marvel. Do it in reverse.
Yeah.
I wish I could watch them in reverse. Actually, I did. I started rewatching Miss Marvel today, and it definitely got me in a lighter mood because The Boys is rough, but I like that ride. I think for me, it's kind of like it's the lighter version of Breaking Bad. Like, if you've ever seen Breaking Bad, you would know you'll never watch Breaking Bad again.
I am finally watching Breaking Bad.
That's rough, man.
I know it is, but there's too many. I want to get into the business. There's too many people. It's like you got to watch Breaking. There's too many examples of good television of stuff. So I'm halfway through season 1. I will watch Breaking Bad, and I'm watching it from the perspective of how are they editing this? How are they growing the character? How are they writing this? And it's a brilliant show.
If you're only on season 1,
I know
it's a ride.
I know
it's a ride,
yeah.
And that's why I feel like The Boys is the lighter version of that. In The Boys, I still have like the glimmer of hope every time I watch The Boys. Like, like you were saying, like you want to believe maybe that canary gets out of it alive or something like that. Something good happens. Maybe Kimiko and Frenchie go off to Marseille, and who knows. But with Breaking Bad, eventually you realize this never.
Yeah,
it's never gonna get good. Never.
And the other thing about The Boys for me is always going to be anything with Carl Urban. I'm there. I love him.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's so great.
Yeah, I would be afraid of them losing Butcher before Homelander, but I feel like that's a more real possibility, unless they get powered at some point soon. Like by season 4, I think
he's going to take so much temp V, it's going to just start clicking in, and he can't control it.
I like his little moment he has in Mother's Milk and explaining to like why Mother's Milk is on the team, because Billy is an asshole and he knows it, and he's a leader, but he knows that he can't lead a team without Mother's Milk.
Yeah,
and that's some like next level self-awareness that I strive to have.
Yeah, no, Billy is an incredibly self-aware human being, and that's what's troubling, right? Is that he can literally sit in a room with Queen Maeve and tell her that he won't feel good about this living in this world until she's dead, along with every other soup out there. And she could just be there drunk and say like, yeah, like that's nuts that he's comfortable saying that. Like that's truly what he believes. And he's a man of conviction for sure. And that's scary, right? And I think that's what makes him such a great foil to Homelander and vice versa. Like the two of them are two peas of the same pod.
Yeah.
They're just, I think you're supposed to root for Billy. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think we should probably be wrapping this up. We can chat more if you want in the soapbox, which is we're gonna do right after this. But I just wanted to say thanks to Clark and Ricky for nerding out with me today. We'll be back next week to discuss the latest super news, more of The Boys, and episode 3 of Miss Marvel with our special guest Mikey. And who knows, maybe he'll even bring Dev.
Yeah, we might even talk about the end of Obi-Wan.
We might do that. It's going to be over next week. Yeah. Also, thanks to our patrons for supporting our growth and to our audience for tuning in. If you had fun, please remember to like and subscribe and check us out on Patreon for our after show. The soapbox starting in a few moments. By the way, I let Frank do his classic, like and subscribe thing last week.
Mhm.
Oh man,
Still has it?
Oh, he's still got it. It was
Oh,
the
man.
best. You should check it out. It was the best one last week's. I'm
We
not
should
going to
just clip
repeat
it and make it a video.
I can't make that a video, but it's great. And then Clark, if you got any place you want people to anything you want people to know about or anything to follow, yeah, feel free to shout out right now.
I'm building stuff. Next time I'm on, I'm gonna have stuff for you. So
All right.
I'm
You
in
better.
a building period right now.
We start charging next time.
It's a building
Nice.
season.
And maybe if I have a bunch of prints left over next week, I'll turn this last spot into a commercial where I just sell all my leftover prints.
That'd be awesome.
I'm like, buy now, right now, call today. But yeah, I guess that's all we got for right now. For anybody coming to that art show tomorrow, see you there. If not, see you next time on Dan Excelsior, True Believers. Enough said.
See ya.